Hello, it's Dr. Farmer. I wanted to take a moment to show you how to complete discussion questions for this class. These are a very important part of this class. It shows me that you are participating, and discussion questions and answers account for a significant portion of the points in this class. So let's get started. In order to complete discussion questions for this class, the first thing you want to do is go to Discussions. Open up the class, go to Discussions, and under this tab you see that each week you have a group of discussions. So week 1, you have your extra credit opportunity and student introductions, and then you have 2 questions. This every week is called the Q&A forum. Here you can submit questions about anything related to the class, particularly anything related to that week's discussion or assignments. I check this daily. I respond to this. You can ask questions to myself or questions to your peers, and usually someone will respond within minutes or a couple of hours of you posting here. So the Q&A is a part of every week. Under the Q&A, you have this week's discussion or the week's discussion questions. And so if you go here, first, you read the question. In Chapter 1, Andrew Billingsley discusses family structure, diversity in the African-American family. For example, single-person households, cohabitation, etc. What type of household did you grow up in, and how did it affect your development positively and negatively? So first thing I want to do is I want to think of that answer based on having read the readings for that week. I read the readings, then I read the question, I come up with my answer. What I do is I go into a word processor and I type my question up, my answer up. And the reason I type my answer up is because it allows for me to check for grammar and spelling problems. Oh, and you see here I have a spelling problem. I'm able to check it, and that way I have good answers when I submit them. So I type them in word processing, I copy them, then I paste them. To post a response to this question, I simply hit here. I select the question, then I go start a new thread. Under start a new thread, I'll label it week 1 discussion, and I'll put my name on it, Farmer week 1 discussion. And then I'll paste the answer that I've already thought of and responded to in the word processing there, and I simply select post. And you see Farmer week 1 discussion answer is here. Remember, for weekly discussions you have 2 responsibilities. One is to answer both questions. So there are 2 questions. I need to answer both of them. They're in different under different folders. And then the second responsibility is to respond to 2 peers. So I've answered the question. I'm going to respond to this other answer here. And so I have to read it. It says, thanks for sharing. I agree 2-parent households that have fighting are not the best environment for children. I like your perspective about experiences making you stronger. My only comment would be that you would avoid normalizing experiences because we went through them. And so I think about that response, and then my response would be to this question would be here. I go into the word processor again, I type my answer, make sure it's spell checked and grammar checked, then I reply to this and I paste my response here. And I post. So now, as you can see, I have answered the question here, and I have responded to a peer here. And so I've met the requirements for 1 question. But remember, there are 2 questions. I have to do the same for the other question. So I go here. This question 2, start a new thread. I figure out an answer to that question. I type it up. I post that answer. I'm going to call it Farmer Week 2. Farmer, I'm just going to say question to answer. And then I post my answer to that question there, and I post it. And then remember, I have to respond to a peer. So I read that, I reply, I respond, and now I have answered each question and I have responded to a peer. You cannot respond to your own question. I'm only doing this as an example. You need to respond to a peer and not your own response. But I'm doing this, and no one's completed responses in this class, so I'm doing this as an example. Remember, you do this every week, 2 questions, 2 answers, 2 responses to 2 peers, 2 by 2 by 2. If you have any questions, go to Q&A. You can submit a question there, or you can also submit a question via email. I check both regularly. I hope this has been helpful. Have a good day.